Do you ever wonder if you're missing opportunities to make more revenue and more net profit by not looking at your leadership skills, by ignoring them? Maybe you are looking at all the numbers and you're very diligent about that. You are looking at your ways to make more income. You're tracking your revenue numbers. You are looking at your net profit, and it's not what you want it to be. And maybe you're thinking about, how can I cut expenses, or how can I make more sales so that I boost those numbers? As a former CPA with a master's in tax, I know how important numbers are. I agree with you, they're very important to track. And yet, if you are only tracking your numbers and you're not paying attention to the EQ skills, your leadership skills, mentoring, coaching your people, building a positive culture, teaching people to communicate well, you communicating well, do you ever think about how that could be affecting your bottom line? Recently, I wrote about a tea room that my husband and I went to where they had an example of excellent leadership. And I was so impressed that volunteers were working together so seamlessly. I wrote all about it. Today, I want to talk to you about an example that's at the opposite end of the spectrum, where my husband and I very recently experienced really poor leadership. And as a result, I would not be in good conscience to recommend this company and their services to friends or neighbors or anyone else. So we had a leak in our house, and we needed to get the master bath and part of the guest bath torn up and then restored and fixed. And we decided to do it when we were taking our 2-week vacation based on the recommendation of the person who was the project manager at the time. And he seemed very good. He seemed very on top of things. I think he might have visited our house like 4 or 5 times. His communication was impeccable. He made us feel very safe and certain that he would make sure a good job was done. And we don't exactly know what happened. But on the first day when that project was supposed to start and we were going to get out of the house, again, I didn't do it while I was working because they told me it would be too loud and noisy, that I wouldn't be able to hear my clients, or my clients wouldn't be able to hear me. But we had planned, we live in Charleston, which is a beautiful tourist area, and we were just going to get out of the house all day, go to the beach, go to the museums, so on and so forth, take little trips. Well, on that very first day, no one showed up. And we waited, and we were being courteous. Then we finally called, and it was almost as if nobody knew about our project. We don't know if that project manager who was so good got let go, or if he left on his own, but apparently he was gone and there were no notes. And they didn't call us. I don't know why. We had to call them. They did start somebody on the project the next day. However, the person who they put in to take the place of the project manager told us he had no construction experience, that he was an office or administrative type of manager. That did not make us feel very comfortable. And so things were getting installed incorrectly. And my husband had to serve as project manager because he has more of that knowledge. I don't have any of that knowledge. And things had to be reinstalled. People said things like, oh, we didn't read the directions. And my husband would say, I read the directions and this is done wrong. So each step of the way, each thing that had to be done, we would have to answer questions almost every hour. So we were kind of housebound. And that was very stressful, especially when we wanted to get out of the house, go see things. And the communication with this company was very lacking. Again, it seemed to us, well, it was true, nobody was on top of things. I would have expected I understand if people make mistakes, I make mistakes too. I would have expected someone to come out to our house in person and oversee things. Apologize, sure, acknowledge the mistake, but oversee things to our satisfaction. And that didn't happen. We were the ones who always had to call. So at the end, we wrote my husband did most of the work. We wrote an email just listing, here's our feedback. Here's why we're not happy with the project. I even offered my services to help train them with their communication skills and their leadership skills and so on and so forth. And the acknowledgement that came back, I mean, that this was good. They acknowledged that that we were not happy. What was missing was, how can we make this right? How can we turn you into a satisfied customer, even though there were mistakes, so that we can feel certain you will recommend us in the future to friends and neighbors? And that didn't happen. It was just, okay, we're sorry you had a bad experience. So think about your company and in wonder, try to be curious and see, where can you pinpoint, where are the gaps in communication? Where might there be gaps in EQ skills? Those are not just soft skills, even though some of you might think that they are. The fact that I have experience on both ends of the equation, numbers and behavioral EQ skills, I'm telling you the truth, you need both. It is a both and, it is not an either or. And I'm sure you've all had these experiences with companies yourselves where you realize you're not going to ever use them again because they did not meet your needs. And then when you express that, they don't try to make it right. So look inside your own company and try to figure out where the gaps are so that you can close those gaps, and that will not be your company that won't be recommended.